Hey guys, it's Sluggy, and I'm back! It's been such a long time since I've uploaded a video, but this is a commission piece that I was hired to do. Really quickly, this is the two images that I did beforehand, like just a quick doodle of the different lighting situations that I wanted. Like always, I had reference with me because reference is number one. And pretty much I just couldn't decide between two types of lighting, and I wanted to make sure I explored both. So I quickly doodled just with reference what the two different conditions could look like. And I ended up liking the one that was on the left, and so I really like doing that because that means like I just have to focus on rendering and focus on making the image more detailed or whatever, and I've already solved all the problems about lighting and stuff in the beginning, so when I'm painting and trying to figure out the techniques itself, I don't have to worry as much about, I guess, what I'm gonna do kind of thing. But quickly, a little bit about the image. So I was hired by one of my subscribers, Kelsey. Thank you so much for, liking my work enough to want a custom personal piece for you. So she wanted me to draw her riding a unicorn and perhaps having some kind of elf ears and wearing something really ethereal, and I loved the idea. It was so much fun to work on this. I don't draw horses that often, so this was awesome. It gave me practice and just, gave me a reason to be more familiar with a subject that I'm not very familiar with. And but of course I was using reference for the horse as well because I'm not so familiar with horse anatomy and stuff like that. So just once again, reference. I didn't have reference for the girl. I kind of just made that up, but that's because I've used so much reference in the past and I feel comfortable enough to draw people without reference at this point. But if you still feel like you need to use reference when you're drawing people, go for it. That's totally fine. Maybe just to give you guys a quick update, I've started my job. It's been about 3 weeks now that I've been in California, and thank you so much for being patient. I'm still trying to figure out my way around LA, and it's been really fun to, kind of get settled and learn about the new place, but I just wanted to thank everyone for being so patient as I'm going through like a transitional time, and I still don't feel completely comfortable here yet. I still need to explore, and it still doesn't feel like home yet. So I hope you guys can still continue to be patient if I'm just not as prompt with videos, but I am gonna do my best. So thank you again for subscribing and being patient. So I am using my usual process where I have, as you can see, I have my, the thumbnail that I did of just a doodle of what the lighting would look like on the top right, because I want to continue to reference that since I'm happy with how that looked. And now I'm just, making details and stuff and making a bigger version of that thumbnail. And I'm going about my usual process, which is where I have all the local colors of the different elements on its own layer. So for example, her dress is in a different layer, and her hair is a different layer, and then the horse is a different layer, things like that, and same with the background. And then I have another layer on top of all of those for things like lighting. So the shadow that I'm painting on her dress right now is on its own layer because I'm trying, I don't want to mix that up yet. And then it makes it really easy for me later on to change the colors if I'm not happy with it. You'll see in a bit that like I have a really easy time changing the color of that dress because I have everything in its own layer, and I like to stay organized that way. And then same with shadows, I have different layers for lighting. And I'm playing with blend modes here and there, but it's also a mix of just opaque normal coloring where I want to put down this color, so I want this color to show up kind of thing. So throughout, I don't know if you saw it earlier, but throughout this painting, Photoshop crashed on me multiple times. That's another reason why it's been really difficult to try and put up videos, is that my computer is so overdue to be replaced. I'm doing my best to try and save up, you know, with my pay right now to buy a new computer. This computer, not only does Photoshop crash, the computer also just randomly would like to freeze. And I would lose work, and you know, losing work just, it just really slows down the process, and it really makes you frustrated, and it makes it hard to get into the groove, you know, back into painting when you just lost all this work. But luckily, where the few times that Photoshop did crash, there it is in. The few times that Photoshop did crash, I was able to, I saved pretty recently, and so I didn't lose too much work. However, I did lose a bunch of footage though, because of my computer freezing and crashing, unfortunately. And so, like, you unfortunately missed some of the rendering that I was doing. I wasn't doing any huge changes to the lighting or anything like that. It's stuff like this at this point, where I'm just zooming in and making these like little changes and just rendering. So it's not too important is what I'm saying, the footage that I lost, but still, that kind of sucks. Like always, I have a thumbnail. I have the navigator window on the top right, so that even though I'm working zoomed in this way, I can still see what the image looks like when it's zoomed out, and you know, just to see the picture as a whole. I have that programmed to F3, and I'm pretty sure that's default in Photoshop. If you just click F3, that's what comes up as the navigator. And so that's just a tip I just always do, is to make sure that you're always seeing your work as a whole and not to get bogged down on simple details. Also, like always, I'm moving around my painting often. I'm not staying in one area just because I don't want to get too caught up in a certain section and then forget about everything else and how it looks as a whole. Also, Kelsey gave me photo reference of her, so that I did my best to, you know, it's a cartoon version of her, of course, because that's my style, but I did my best to get her features. She has like red hair, big beautiful eyes, and a really cute little lips and stuff, so and she has this really cool smirk that I tried to like incorporate into the cartoon version, and I hope she likes it. So yeah, right now I'm just rendering. As you can see, I'm zoomed in and continuing to do that. Let's see, what else can I talk about? In the beginning, I didn't mention this when it was happening, but before I went into all this rendering and drawing and stuff, I had an underdrawing and then I did line art over it. So just something as a tip is to stay loose in the beginning. Don't worry so much about making sure your line work is perfect, and then later, once you feel like it's, you know, almost there, then you can start really like honing it down and stuff. I don't know if you also noticed, but once in a while I turn the image grayscale because I wanted to make sure that the values are still correct. And the reason why I care is because anywhere that's highest contrast, so something that's really dark next to something that's really light, is really high contrast, and that's where the eye looks the most. And the place that I want the viewer to look is her face and the horse's face. But I think hers is higher, you know, higher in the ladder of where I want the viewer to look. So I made sure that, you know, she's framed so that the trees in the background frames her hair and her face so that it's really, really bright behind her, and her dark hair is, you know, really dark in comparison. And also, a lot of the rest of the image is mostly greens and blues, so it kind of contrasts with the warmth of her red hair. So that's another thing to keep in mind about warm colors versus cool colors. So values, you know, dark versus light and then warm versus cool really helps to when you're painting to if you place them correctly to really lead the viewer in the correct direction pretty much. But yeah, so right now her darkest dark, like I went full black, is on her eyelid, sorry, not eyelid, her eyelashes, her pupils, and same with the horses, and then, or the unicorn I mean, and then her hair is also quite dark and framing her face in the image. But yeah, so that's pretty much, it's almost ending the video, and that's pretty much all I have time to talk about. And thank you so much for following me and still subscribing to me, even though it's been a while. And I hope you can continue to be patient. I'm going to do my best, even while I'm still getting settled. But thanks again, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!